Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the KnifeCenter, and today we're looking at the best new budget knives of 2022. Let's get into it. So obviously, this time of the year, gift giving is on people's minds, but also, inflation is running pretty high these days. The economy is a little bit different than it used to be, but there's still a lot of great, affordable, dare we say, cheap knives out there that don't really feel cheap. And I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of spotlight what I think are the highlights. I've got 10 great affordable knives here. And for that affordable limit, we're gonna say about 50 bucks is the high end of what we're looking at. So not bargain basement prices in all these cases, but still pretty darn affordable. At least I think they are. And a little bit of a caveat, some of these knives may have been out a little bit before this year, but we've done a lot this year to bring in, or make sure we're bringing in a lot of more affordable brands this year to continue to make this subject, this fun niche, as affordable as it can be, whether it's for you or whether you're giving a gift this year. So some of these brands are new to the KnifeCenter, and as such, I'm gonna go ahead and include some of them on this video anyway. But whether you're buying for yourself or someone else, just because you might not have a lot to spend doesn't mean you can't get something really good. And I really do stand by that, I mean it. Let's start out with a very well-established brand, shall we? CRKT with the Squid XM, a Lucas Burnley design. 45 bucks for this knife, and it's honestly my favorite squid version yet. None of the smaller ones have ever really floated my boat, but this XM I think is pretty excellent. And the XM, kind of tongue-in-cheek, stands for extra medium. Obviously it's bigger than the rest of the squid lineup, but it's not quite a large knife, so hence the XM. Anyway, 3-inch blade, spear point shape that is good for just about any daily task you can think about. D2 tool steel for a good heap of edge retention under that $50 price point, and just overall quite excellent. The handles themselves bear that same kind of elliptical type or neutral shape as some of the original squid models, just a little larger, and as such it's going to work for a lot of hand sizes. Even if you have larger hands, it's not a grip that kind of pinches your grip whatsoever. It's very natural to fall off the back of it and still have a solid grip. Carries nice and thin in the pocket, G10 on the front, stainless steel frame lock on the back, single position pocket clip folded over on the back, and CRKT's latest evolution of their assisted opening mechanism, which, especially on the budget range of things, I think is the system to beat. It fires quickly every time and has a very easy close compared to some other assisted opening mechanisms on the market. Very well done. You can flip it or thumb flick it open quite easily. It's a perfect little size for everyday carry. And that's going to carry through to this next knife as well. D2 tool steel, great stuff, especially great for knife enthusiasts in this price range because you can get a lot of edge retention for your money. But it's only a semi-stainless steel. If you want a true stainless, this next one could be a good bet. This is the Kershaw Lucid, coming in at about $39. 3.2-inch blade and 8CR13 MOV stainless steel here. Basic stuff, but very serviceable, especially again in the price range. And the blade here is especially cool, I think. It is technically a drop point, but it's got way more sex appeal than most other drop points out there. It's got curves and a little bit of angularity to the spine to spice it up a bit, but not at the expense of utility. You've got this great blade shape, great edge profile for day-to-day use, about 3.2 inches long, almost a full flat grind on the blades. You've got a great balance between a thin edge and a strong edge, and a nice swedge at the back to kind of relieve some of the drag that the spine can introduce as well. Really nicely done. Like the Squid XM, this is also an assisted opening mechanism. It's also got a stainless steel frame lock on the back with a folded over deep carry clip, which unlike the Squid, is actually reversible for left or right carry here. And we've got an injection molded front scale here with this nice dark blue color, almost a navy. Matches the backspacer, and I really like it. I see a lot of black knives, so it's always cool to see a not black knife. And this is a really good one. 38 bucks or 39 bucks. The kind of OG of the production assisted opening mechanisms with the speed safe mechanism there. Little bit more to close it, but not a whole lot compared to the XM here. And a great flipping action to boot. All right, next up, let's say you want to eschew a spring opening mechanism in favor of a fully manual knife. Well, then the rest of the knives on this list will be up your alley. But the first here is one of those new brands to the KnifeCenter this year. This is Honey Badger Knives, and this is their imaginatively named medium flipper. Not extra medium like this, no, just medium. They've basically got 3 sizes, small, medium, large. They all follow the same kind of footprints, or the same roadmap, I should say. Injection molded handle scales over an inset liner lock, which is very nice. Ball bearings in the pivot, and several different blade styles for each size of the flipper. You've got tantos, as you can see on this medium flipper right here, drop points, another kind of alternate drop point, hawkbill shapes, clip points, you name it, they've pretty much got it. I'm pretty sure they have a clip point, actually. If they don't, never mind, maybe they'll make one soon. But in any case, several different blade shapes to choose from, and in some cases, a couple different steel choices. D2 is one, and HCR 13 stainless, like this Tanto, is available also. And the best part is they start, well, the mediums anyway, start at about 35 bucks. Very affordable. This Tanto right here, 42. 3.2 inch blade. The Tanto shape I really enjoy. It's kind of that nice blend between a super angular American style Tanto and a more, shall we say, versatile drop point day-to-day. It's going to operate much in a similar fashion to that, but with a more robust tip, of course. High flat grind, swedge along the clipped portion here. Couple of different opening methods. You've got the flipper as well as your thumb cutout or finger cutout, because you can do the reverse flick quite easily. Ball bearings in the pivots on these too. Love it. Deep carry pocket clip, another handle shape that works for a wide variety of hand sizes thanks to just its very nicely designed profile. A little bit of contouring even to that handle scale, which that's where, especially at this lower price point, injection molding can be a bit superior to something like G10, which is a more premium material that you see on this Squid XM right here. But at this price range, you're going to get a flat piece of it. It's not going to be milled out into a very sophisticated shape typically, but you can certainly get that right here. Take your pick of the size you like, then pick the blade shape you like. They're all fantastic bargains. All right, next up, we have a new brand, Beyond EDC, B''Yond EDC. This is their linear folder, comes in about $38. And this is one of those interesting small knives that kind of has the heart of a bigger knife. And what I mean by that, or what makes me say that, is check out both the thickness of the blade steel there and the thickness of the liners. It's a bit more chunky than it has to be in a way, and as such, it's a small knife that feels strong, or stronger than many small knives tend to at this price range especially. D2 tool steel, 2.7 inches on the blade. Saber height flat grind, we'll say, with a swedge. A bit of a wedgy profile overall, but quite strong feeling, or it gives the impression of strength for sure. Standard pocket clip, which is reversible. You've even got the blockout plates on the other side to make it look a little more classy than having just some empty holes there. Nice thick liner lock, holds the blade. Man, super secure. I've got no wiggle whatsoever on that, either side to side or up and down, no problem. Flipper for the actuation, ball bearings in the pivot for that nice free floating action. Just very, very nice. They've got a couple other models you should check out too that get just a bit above that $50 price point we were looking at. They're all built to the same nice quality. All right, next we have a new cold steel. This is the Verdict. On this one, $53 knife at this point in time. So just over that, that kind of $50 roundabout ceiling we've been looking at. This is a really thoughtful design, I think. 53 bucks, like I mentioned. Blade a little bit over 3 inches long, 4116 stainless. Good basic stuff there. Heavy stone washed finish, which looks really cool. 3 blade shapes to choose from, actually. You've got the drop point here, as well as a clip point and a Tonto profile. And likewise with the Honey Badgers, we've got a rather sophisticated injection molded handle shape here. There's some contouring going on to it. As such, it feels great, and the balance is actually quite good too. Pretty much balanced right there on the index finger, which is very nice for a knife any size. It helps it move a little more agilely, and it doesn't even weigh you down either. I don't have a specific weight here. We'll try and check that and put it in the corner or something somewhere, but it's a very easy to carry knife. Folded over deep carry pocket clip, which is reversible, as is the thumb stud, which is reversible too. Combine that with the triad lock here, and you've got a knife that's completely ambidextrous, so really good for lefties as well. And really good for those who want a little bit of a stronger knife, kind of similar vein to the Beyond EDC Linear we just looked at, but rather than just kind of beefing things up, you've got the triad lock here, which is, you know, Cold Steel's signature lock these days. It operates just like any other back lock, but it's significantly stronger and more long lasting. And it's always cool if you're gonna have this nice signature lock that you can get it in some affordable knives. Oftentimes those things get segregated to the more higher priced things in the lineup. Not so here. You can in fact get some Cold Steel knives even less expensive than this with that strong triad lock. So it's very, very cool indeed. So all of these knives I think make just excellent EDC options. The next one does too, but it's a little bit larger, and I think especially well suited if you're looking for something for yourself or someone else that you want to gift something that is more outdoorsy oriented perhaps. Good folding hunting knife, good kind of bushcraft or camping folder, and that is the Ka-Bar Becker BK40 KnifeCenter exclusive in D2, which was released back in February this year. It's only about $5 more than the stainless steel version of this knife too. $50 for this right now. The blade itself is just over 3.5 inches long, and it's a little more robust than many of the knives we've looked at so far. Little bit on the thicker side. The flat grind is a little bit higher than the midpoint. Keeps a bit of the slicing kind of credentials on hand, but again, a little more chunky for those heavier uses. Plenty of belly here for the folding hunting types of tasks, like I mentioned, and the pivot in this knife is going to stand up well to the outdoors also. No ball bearings here. In fact, the Cold Steel we just looked at did not have ball bearings either. As such, a little bit less worry about dust and grit and that sort of thing than you would if it were a ball bearing equipped knife. 4-position wire pocket clip on the handles themselves, which are injection molded in this gray color right here. But it's those handles especially. I talked about the blade is good, but the handles especially here are kind of the claim to fame of this Becker folder. They're based on the mid-size Becker fixed blades, which have always been an exceedingly comfortable knife handle. And comfort, especially exceeding comfort, is not something you often get on any folding knife, even ones that are contoured and nice and manipulatable. This knife right here, if you're needing to do some stuff where you really need to go to town, push into a task, heavy use, long sessions of use, the comfort on these handles right here, I think you're quickly going to appreciate. All right, I think the biggest story in these last couple years in the knife industry has been just the explosion of button locking knives. A kind of a new generation, a new iteration of button locks, really kicked off in popularity at least by something like the ProTech Malibu. And we're starting to see knives with that same kind of excellent, finger-safe, fidget-friendly action coming in at some very, very good prices. The first here is Sencut, which is I used to call the brands Civivi knives and We knives. Civivi was kind of the budget alternative or the budget subsidiary of WE, Sencut is the budget alternative to WE. It's kind of the even budgetier Civivi lineup, essentially. But the knives feel very good. You know, the Civivis have been creeping up a little bit in price recently. The Sencuts are here to kind of pick up the slack. This is the Crowley Flipper. It's about $46. You've got a 3.5-inch D2 blade, great modified drop point shape. And I only say modified because it gets really flat here out at the top. So it's like almost a straight clip point, but no, it's still a drop point. Full flat grind, nice stone washed finish on it. Nice lengthy handles, Jade G10 on this particular example. We've also got a deep carry pocket clip, which is reversible, ball bearings in the pivot, flipper, thumb studs, and that button lock. It's got all of those fidgety things you want. It's got the right kind of action, as you can see. You can just press and hold that button and do the flick open and closed. The flipper works great. The thumb studs work great. The button stays out of the way during use. It's just a phenomenally executed design with a great shape for everyday carry. So I can say pretty much the same stuff about this knife here. This is the CJRB Pyrite. It's a little bit smaller, but a little bit more expensive. It has, however, a nice trick up its sleeve, which I will get to. $50 for this knife, 3.12, like 3 1/8 of an inch long. Fantastic drop point shape, my favorite blade shape for an everyday carry. Again, for the versatility, almost a full flat grind, and I love a stone washed finish. If you're unfamiliar with it, the nice thing about it is as you use the knife, inevitably it will start to pick up some scratches, but those scratches kind of blend in a little bit with a stone washed finish versus some other finishes where they seem more apparent. G10 is the handle material on this example. We've got a deep carry clip, which is reversible. You can get a couple different colors of G10 as well as a full stainless steel handle option for the same $50 price point. They don't upcharge for that material. So you get a little more weight with that one, but some people like that extra feeling of solidity. It's a great thing to do some modifications on too. Do some engraving and other sorts of cool things with that version if you wish. As for the action, it's got all the button lock stuff you want. It's got that nice wrist flicking action, allows you to keep your fingers out of the blade path the whole time. But again, no flippers here. It's a bit of a cleaner profile when closed, just the thumb studs, but it works great. And here's that trick up its sleeve. For less than $50, 5 cents less, 5 whole cents less than $50, you can actually get a particle steel blade with their RPM 9, which is proprietary to Artisan Cutlery and CJRB, the sister companies there. And the way they've always described it is edge retention approaching something like D2, but it's a bit tougher and it's stainless as well. Very, very cool stuff. All right, the next two knives I want to talk about are my favorite locking type, actually, and that is the crossbar lock. Even before this new crop of kind of button lock stuff came out, the crossbar lock has always done a similar thing for me. Allows you to have that finger safe operation. It's fully ambidextrous, which the button locks, even though they work really well in for left-handed users without changing the configuration. A crossbar lock is completely ambidextrous. It has that free-floating nature. It has the finger safe nature. And we're starting to see it in some extremely affordable knives nowadays. The first is this Schrade Divergent, part of their Delta class of knives, $27. And it's got just about everything I wished it had, quite honestly. Aus 8 steel, blade just over 3 inches long. If this were a 3-inch bladed knife, this would right now be my bar none, easy recommendation. If I know nothing else about a given person's needs or where they live, certain restrictions they might have on what they can carry. If someone would ask, I need a knife, this would be it. But it's just over that 3-inch mark. But the rest of the knife is that good. Really cool blade shape here. You've got a harpooned drop point, a saber height hollow grind in this case, and a little extra cool factor with the fullers on both sides of the blade. G10 for the handles, standard 3-hole position pocket clip. So that should fit a lot of aftermarket stuff too if you want to go a little crazy. And remember how I mentioned the crossbar lock is ambidextrous, well, you can move the clip to either side and you've got thumb studs dual on the blade. So nice, perfectly ambidextrous knife. Plenty of handle length there. It's just barely fits all 4 of my fingers. I have slightly larger than average hands. And my big concern, or shouldn't say concern, but the thing I wanted to know most about this knife at this price point was, how's the action on their crossbar lock? Does that tell you what you need to know? It is exactly what I hoped it would be. Fantastic feeling, very good spring action. The lockup is solid. You do get just a little hint of movement, but that's pretty common with pretty much every crossbar locking knife out there. Not enough to make me stop carrying them because, like I said, it is my favorite lock type. Really, really excellent knife right here. All right, the next one and the final one for this list is another crossbar locking knife. This is another new brand for us this year here at the KnifeCenter, SRM, and this is their 9201 model. I showed the injection molded version of this a couple weeks ago. That comes with a 8CR stainless blade and $20 price point, which is insane enough already, and the action is great. This is the more premium version of that knife. It's $10 more, 30 bucks. You get D2 blade steel on this nice 3.5-inch clip point blade and G10 handle scales. Remember how I mentioned you don't usually get a lot of sophisticated contouring and everything in this price point on G10? Well, we don't have sophisticated contouring, but we do actually see some extra milling going on. Gives the handle a bit of visual flair that is pretty unexpected at this price point, I have to admit. But the whole knife works great. I've been carrying that injection molded version for the last couple of weeks to give it a try out. I've been very happy with it. Deep carry pocket clip, which is reversible. No thumb studs on this knife. They went for the thumb hole instead. Makes it easier to keep clean and less of a potential of things getting in the cutting path as you're using the blade. And the action, not quite as good as the Schrade here, but not at all bad either. It's just, it needs a little bit of breaking in perhaps. The other one that I've been carrying has been working great. 30 bucks for this knife. Just a phenomenal thing. High flat grind on the blade. Obviously a folding hunter inspired design, but great for everyday carry, great for long slices especially, and great for your pocketbook. All right, that's all I have for this week. I hope you enjoyed these knives, and I hope it shows that there still is a lot of good, inexpensive stuff out there. As expensive as the knife hobby can be, if you choose to sink the money into it, and goodness knows I certainly have done that myself personally, it's good to know you don't need to spend an arm and a leg to get some of the greatest stuff the knife industry has to offer, at least across the varied spectrum of what's out there. You can get it all under that $50 price point. It's pretty amazing. Let me know what you thought. Check out the links to these knives in the description if you want to get your hands on them. Those will take you over to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget our Knife Rewards program. Whether you're buying one of these knives for yourself or for someone else, you get to keep the points, which is essentially free money to spend on your next knives. I'm David C. Anderson from the KnifeCenter, signing off. Happy holidays.